Can you hear me? You're not supposed to. Why can you hear me? I literally turned it off. Anyway, at this point, hello. Wait, what the heck? Everything's moved again? I'm so irritated. Oh, wait, no, this is fine. Okay. There's a delay already. We're dropping frames. Okay, well, I'm back now. It's not that bad now. Okay. But I'm telling you, it's a nice and, like, rainy day. This fucks up too much. I'm not streaming. Did I cough? It is definitely a lot better now? Okay, good. Hi, Mac. Hi, Addie. Hi, Busy. Yeah, it just had to drop a bunch of frames for some reason. Oh, it is so nice and cozy. Tell me how the audio is. I'll just check myself, actually. Don't tell me anything. Of course, it re-added itself, so I had to mess with everything. Alright, I'm turning it down. It's an 11 now. No, it's literally not a trap. You just need to be honest. Okay? You just have to be telling me the truth. Don't be like, I mean, it's bearable. No, I don't want bearable. I want you to, like... I want it to, you know, not hurt your ears. Alright, so yeah, game right now is at an 11. I am at a... Where am I? I'm at a -5. No, you're not. I'm telling you, as someone who has been burnt a million times by going back and going through my VODs, you're not, okay? I appreciate the sentiment, but you're not being honest. Alright, anyway. Let me restart. No, not suspend menu. I just want to actually go back. Yeah, it is always tough. Always tough. No, you're just not being... You're... Okay. Okay, girl. Okay. The WINDWAKER. Ooh. I will still continue playing Stardew Valley because I think it's so much fun. But I just figured I'd take a tiny break. Thank you, Addie. Yes, thank you. I do appreciate you, Busy. I do. I really do. Are we dropping frames again, or is it just the way the game looks? Again, it looks a little bit choppy. We're streaming at 720p. There's nothing I can do about it. So right now, just for a frame of reference, I guess, yeah. But frame of reference right now, we have 328 drop frames. It's not going up or down, so we're fine. But again, we're at 720p. Yucky. All right, press start. Thank you. Yay! So as far as I have made it, huh? Would you like to create a save file for the WINDWAKER? Oh my god, how cute. Yes, I would. So I played this on my Wii U. Oh, the music. I didn't make it too far. I made it to the very first, like, temple. Yeah, exactly. Until I start running around, jumping and attacking stuff there. Made it to the first temple where you're racing the water up and down, and I may have finished it, but I don't know. You've been awake for hours. Ain't it early? Ain't it early for you? Yes, start. Alright, so when I was playing Majora's Mask, someone mentioned the name Squink. Oh my god, that's cute. Oops. Squink. Next up on the agenda, Twilight Princess. But I do want to play that from my, yeah, I have a really weird problem with the HUD effects. What? It's a free thing. Why is it being annoying? Yeah, I want to get my, my Wii connected I would like to play that. That's weird. Are a lot of people having problems with that? This is one but legend of which the people speak. Long ago, there existed a kingdom where golden power lay hidden. It was a prosperous land, blessed with green forests, tall mountains, and peace. 106. Ooh, girl. I'm back at 5. But one day the man of great evil found the golden power and took it for himself. Every time you trigger the HUD effects after a trigger screen go black, that's bad. With strength at his command, he spread darkness across the kingdom. But then when all hope had died and the hour of doom seemed at hand, a tiny boy, clothed in green, appeared as if from nowhere. Wielding the blade of evil's bane, he sealed the dark one away and gave the land light. I know, will you stream when I'm at work or when I'm asleep? This boy who traveled through time to save the land was known as the hero of time. Hi, Krager. This boy who traveled... Oh, I knew it sounded familiar. The boy's tale was passed down through generations until it became a legend. You're telling me people have this mural up? And they're like, who's this little kid running around? But then a day came where the fell wind began to blow across the kingdom. Still asleep or don't work? I could try. The great evil that all thought had been forever sealed away by the hero. Uh-oh. Drop frames. We're dropping frames. Everyone needs to leave. Once again, crept forth from the depths of the earth, eager to resume its dark design. Sell drugs? Yeah, good money. The people believed that the hero of time would again come to save them. But the hero did not appear. Faced by the onslaught of evil, the people could do nothing but appeal to the gods. In their last hour, as doom drew high, the eyeballs, they left their future in the hands of fate. What became of the kingdom? None remains, and who know? The memory of the kingdom vanished, but its legend lived on the wind's breath of the wild. On a certain island, it became customary to garb boys in green. Oh, okay, never mind. Isn't this like a religious thing? Doing something like this, or am I just thinking of Elden Ring? Clothed in green of fields, they aspired to find heroic blades and cast down evil. The elders wished only for the youth to know courage like the hero of legend. Yeah, isn't it fucking dumb? We replaced the Ethernet cord, we replaced the router, we replaced modem. We spent a good like $500 out said island, and everything's the same. Big brother! Excuse me. Oi! I love how they make the characters talk in this game. Big brother! Yeah, it looks good, but I'm streaming at 2000. There is lag, yeah. And I'm still experiencing a lot of lag. I'm still having to stream at 2000 in like 600 bit rate. Our upload speeds are just terrible. Big brother! It looks great. Is this what it looks like on the GameCube? Okay, well that's good. Again, I've dropped 365 frames. I knew you'd be here. Okay, well, sure. I'm not saying that it probably hasn't helped at all. Errol. Yeah, it definitely, I think it's helping, but I am on OBS. And I know things are doing okay. but I just think it's not its full potential. And our upload speeds are still the exact same as before. When I play with the goals, I call it Arrow's Lookout. Gaze out at the sea. I do have Spectrum PTSD. We're gonna think about switching to fiber. If that one Reddit answer told me anything, one person had a good experience with it, and so we'll do that. So, do you remember what day it is today? Yeah, exactly. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. So you still have sleep, huh? Did you forget? Big brother, it's your birthday! Wow. April 29th is his birthday. That's why Grandma has been waiting for you to come back to the house. She's been waiting for a while now. It's a good thing I came to find you. You should probably go home and see what Grandma wants, don't you think? Oh, wow. What? So, crouch is ZR. I hope so too. I saw people talking about Spectrum fiber, and it's ass still because it's Spectrums. I did see rumors about the Ocarina remaster. Whee! I don't know if someone, if you could take a photo of my OBS settings, send them to me. Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. I will take a picture of mine. Again, I just did the auto configuration thing, and I'm doing that. I'm going to do that every single time before stream because I feel like obviously that's going to give me the best results for like in that moment, the day that I'm actually going to be streaming. So yeah, I can send you what I have like for today right now. And then what I would normally have if I could, hello. I would like a 6,000 bit rate. I'd like it to be 1080p. I know like 720 is not terrible, but like is it a little courage, you run as fast as you can, then you can jump on the rock out there, huh? No, yes, default server and everything. Okay, okay. No, I don't want to talk to a child. This way. Moolah. Oops. Okay, yeah, here. If I can, I don't mind. You tweaked with yours recently as well. Okay, 2 different people talked. Yeah, Spectrum's really, really bad. And again, our dude said that the technician that came out said that he was getting great readings on the house, so everything looked fine and it was like what it should be, but he got weird readings on yeah, he was getting weird readings on outside, like that little panel outside, not the one that they put on like the back of your house, like the one that's actually out back, like the big like green thing. I would like to crop. Just unlock it, thank you. And I know you said something. 1080p 30 is what I would recommend. Twitch doesn't allow a high NFA rate for most things at 1080. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought so too, but I'd like to at the very least be streaming at that. I'm gonna just take another picture. I don't like that one. I guarantee my output scale is something messed up, but like that's what it recommended to me. Did they say they were gonna do anything? They were gonna send maintenance out, actually. Like, I'm sure the city maintenance. Someone maybe will fuck it off. Fuck it all off, please. Oh, he's trying to keep you guys on. Yeah, exactly. I guarantee it too. He didn't seem very happy. Yeah, and then I just have the default. I don't have enhanced broadcasting on because Riley. I don't have yeah, enhanced broadcasting on because I noticed that makes everything 1,000 times worse. Addie, where are you? Are you on the Discord? Or maybe I can join your Discord. Boom. I don't know how to find people on here. Yeah, like literally, we're spending so much money. I mean, it's only 60 bucks, so I can't be too mad. But we have our phone bill through you, so like, get it together. Yeah, how do you see who's here? But I have a picture of it. Save, yeah. I don't know. Here, I'm just gonna post it here real quick in the let's chat thing. Again, you let me know if I shared any incriminating like details. I don't think I did, but just in case. Okay. And we're dropping frames again because I'm probably trying to send stuff over the internet and it's stupid. Okay, we're back and it's fine. Okay. Would you like to continue playing? Nah, I'm done. Big brother! So instead of Kukos, we got the piggy. Attack? I just want to pick it up. I know. Are you also in the market for catching piggies? Who's this guy? I saw a wild pig. A sandaconda. Crab claws. It's just I tried to see. I need to move around more. It's perfectly fine. My wife was just telling me how she really wanted a pet. Ready to try to grab it, Swink? You gonna ready to go grab it? Now you can just run up on it. Pigs are too alert. Okay, we cannot. Cannot run up on it, sorry. Yummy crispy bacon. Or soggy, flaccid bacon if you're busy. R and then slowly. Okay. Where'd you go, little guy? Sorry, Grandma, you're gonna have to wait. He does. Is it supposed to be him? Gregor, have you played this one? Where'd it go? I scared it away. Oh no, it's right there. Bacon does sound really good, yeah. There's no way he sees me. There's no way he sees me. Is this what you're looking for? Ah, the N64 series. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. That's totally fair. What do you want me to do with this? Here you go. Remember, you can't frighten those oinkers. Press R and then that to slowly crawl and bounce, or you can just use them as bait. I already grabbed him, actually. He seems fine. Okay, well, you keep him. So is this Beetle's first game? Right? Beetle? Ew! Your grandma was calling for you, Squink. So is my mom. Okay. He has no idea. How about this one? Where's your wife? I'll impress her. Hello. Oh, Squink, happy birthday. Hey, did your sister Errol find you? She was supposed to tell you that your grandma. Okay, so everyone knows. Speaking of your sister, she saw me at work the other day. She said she wanted to learn to carry jars on her head like me so she could help your grandmother with chores. So if you see her, tell her that all she has to do is stand in front of a jar and press A. To put it down, press R. Can you tell her that for me? Yeah. Sorry, I don't, where do I live again? Okay, did anyone, so Addie, anyone, yeah, tutorial hours, press A. It's very weird of you to say that to me. Anyone play, Okami? Anyone play Okami? You think it's so strange? Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, this is our boy of the sea. Hey, Squink, hoy, Squink, press L right here and use A to talk to me. I just trying to. You may have figured it out. I hope so. Well, maybe we can test it out, Mac. That's correct. You're a smart one. You, my friend, have just L targeted me. You see, when you press L, you can target certain objects. Anyway, the grandpa reminds me. Oh, you haven't played it? Yeah, it's fun though. It's usually like $10 wherever you want to buy it at. You see, my friend L targeted me, and you see, when you press L, you can target certain objects. I, for one, use it quite often to talking to folks who are far away. So it'll only appear on stream and not your screen. So it'll scare us and not you. Of course, even if there isn't anything around to target, you can press L to face forward, you know. But you can still hear it. I mean, hey, I guess that's something. That's a step. That's annoying. Yeah. Go potty with you. Are you peeing or pooping? Alright, well, you let me know when you're done. Quite an ingenious kind of thing, if I do say so myself. Of course, that's not the only trick in my bag. Not remotely. I can teach you a few things. If you climb up the ladder. Okay, well, I'm supposed to meet my grandma. I don't have a sword yet. I definitely recommend other Zelda games. Yes, New Bandana, I bought a bunch of them. I should have washed my face. I feel like I could totally use a face wash right now. A little bit shiny. You're growing up, Squink, which means you're gonna have to need as much wisdom as you can from this point forward. Yeah, we all are. We really all are experiencing, well, not all of us. Some of us are lucky. You know, growing up, Squink. You're growing up, which means you need as much wisdom as you can give from this point forward. I already read this. She's finished. I'm gonna wash my face as well. I'll be right back. Ow. God. Yeah, I bought a bunch of colors. I got a yellow one too, and a couple blue. Oh, dude, that's annoying. Your whole laptop decided to crash. Dang, I haven't had my... I'm not gonna say it out loud. I'm not gonna say it out loud. You do it. You literally do it. Zora! Hi, Zora. I don't know if my face looks any better. I washed it. Ignore it. I didn't put any lotion on. My face is gonna be so dry. you love this one? I've never finished it. I made it to through the first like actual temple dungeon where you're raising the water levels. I don't know if I finished it. I think I might have, but I don't remember. You speed run this one, bro. That's amazing. That is very impressive. Oh, dude, I was on Inspector Gadget villain vibes. No, oh, this guy, you mean? He seems sweet. I downloaded Live Split because I like having the time. I think that's really really nice. Hi, Yanni. I like having the time when I watch certain streamers. He loves game, dude. Yay! Oh yeah, get that mothball. I like that. I like the timer. Yeah. Ah, cute. You have the same amount as Krager, and Krager's here like every day. Same amount of mothballs as Krager. Let me see. Oh yeah, Windrose. You were playing Windrose last, actually, right? Yeah. No. You, no. Zora has the same amount of daily mothballs. What? Uh huh. Okay. Wait, you were using a. Where did it go? Where'd that just go? Use a speedrunner timer and the crash was a specific point. Oh, so you knew it wasn't anything weird. I see. Krager, get no mothballs. This right here? Oh, because you guys are trying to add profile pictures, you dork. And we have to reconnect to the internet. Yeah, we have to reconnect to everything. Sorry. You got some help for your friends on that mission? Oh, yeah. I sorry about lurking. I know that irritates Fizzy to like no end, and I apologize about that. It's just sometimes you guys like stream, and I'm like, obviously, I mean, if I wasn't busy, I would be streaming. That's just how I am. Also, thank you, Fizzy, for that. That's very nice. Thank you for that. Shout out. Yeah, exactly. You appreciate the views. At least, yeah, that's what I say too. I'm like, listen, I'm there in theory. You did that too, and your mistake was adding the auto splitter. That probably messed up your laptop and confused it. Where I tell you the crash is, I was at a specific time when you entered the room. Here, shush, Christ. I say shush with love, okay? She's a lot. Oh, it feels like the cool side of the pillow, the place to be, the stream where it feels like a fond memory. Please enjoy your stay. That's so sweet. Yeah, maybe, yeah, just to keep things simple for a little bit. That's probably a good idea, yeah. Lurking is okay. I agree. I think lurkers are fantastic. And again, they're there. And okay, they're there to show their support. Sorry if this is clanking and a little bit loud. If you want things, you must know things. Now, before I was born, oh my gosh. Now, I was born before you, so I know all sorts of things, yes. I know. That's totally fair. That's exactly how you are. We want different things out of streaming, and that's totally okay. That's totally alright. I'm so fine with not having anyone talking, because, like, I understand what it's like to want to support someone, so you put it on the stream, maybe have it on this background, maybe you're not listening at all, and you just have it on to give them some support. Like, I understand every aspect of it. I'm what they call an empath, you know? I'm empathetic. Oh, like a timer on your starting suit screen? That's a good idea, too. Jimbo has one of those. I don't think I could calm down and, like, actually prepare in 5 minutes. I'm just like, I wait for, like, the music to die down and then I'll start. I've been studying all matters of topics for many years. Oh, it's for his live scene, like an actual, like a split, like a... Now I can tell you you're a smart lad. Sorry, I keep going back and reading through chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. Happy Wednesday, Yanni. Who else has said Happy Wednesday? I don't know. Lately, I've been thinking it's time for me to pass some wisdom down, and I think you're the one I'm going to pass it down to. Count yourself lucky. Everything that you see tacked to these walls is something that I've researched thoroughly. And before you ask, yes, I do know my piling system is on. Yeah, like speedrun timer. Yeah. Organize issues aside, however, it's all extremely useful information. You would do well to read it all very carefully. Reading leads to knowing, you know. But anyway, yeah, this grandpa kind of reminds me of the grandpa from Ocarina of Time. Now, did I do that? Such a racket. Can't you keep quiet? You knocked everything off my shelves, you dratted hooligan. How's the sound? Honestly, the hooligan I'm referring to is my younger, much less intelligent brother who lives just downstairs. No. Oh, sorry. Yeah, in Okami, which is it's like reminds me of like Twilight Princess. He's the old dude from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh, like his massive cerebral tuber. He hates studying all day, every day. All day, every day. That lout just exercises and practices with his weapons. Does he exercise his brain? No, the brain's a muscle too, I think. Anyway, the only thing he does study is the art of fighting. Right now, for instance, he's been studying fencing and whatnot. Dugong. You guys, he's right here. As if that's only any of use to anyone. He simply doesn't know how to do anything besides exercise. I ask you, what's a brother to do? What's a brother to do? I'll tell you. Alright, so everything you've learned, huh? Sorry, I don't want to... No. Oh, gee whiz. Anyway, so in light of... try to contain your jealousy. That's pretty good. Anyway, so in light of all of this yapping, I want to also say that I want to take the time... Like, I want to start playing some games off stream. So that way I can actually focus on the game itself. Because that's the whole thing of, obviously, what separates, like, streaming from just doing, like, a Let's Play on YouTube and uploading your gameplay. Is that the whole point is to be talking with the chat. That's literally the entire point of streaming. Right? But I understand that that's not what everyone wants, and a lot more people are getting into streaming instead of just posting like videos on YouTube. And so like I used to get so irritated when I would go to like find a new like game to watch, and I'd see like chat on the screen, I'd instantly like click out, or I'd see like previously live stream on Twitch and I'd instantly like leave. So I kind of want to start some games off stream. I was thinking of playing Elden Ring again. And actually giving it my all, and then using that save file. Oh yeah, life. Okay, using that save file for the DLC. However, yes, I figured I would do that. And maybe some games that are like a bit just too tough for my computer to be like actually like running, I can actually like, you know, play them finally. I just think why not? You know what I mean? I think that's a good idea because some people don't want that. That's totally fair. Let me see. Oh yeah, you're gonna be lurking for a bit. You're home with your kid today. Oh, cute. Super clean. Not wanting to go anywhere. Yeah, that's how my kids are too. She is actually quite upset that I am streaming. That's why I'm gonna give this a couple hours. We're gonna go snuggle up because it is nice and sunny. I meant rainy. It's nice and rainy outside, dude. Looking at my specs, there's probably no game that would be tough to run. Are you sure? Have you seen what's been going on? I'm dropping frames. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I figured why not. It's easy to get swept up by a little success at swimming. Sea can be fickle. So this is about my, like, yeah, my sea timer. Gotcha. Damn it, I'm reading it again. Oh, he's had a fever, so he's in that need mommy. Oh, I understand that. That's so fair. I've been very sick too, and I feel the same way. I want my mom as well. Glad this one in front of me. Yeah, so don't worry about lurking things. If you have to leave, that's totally okay. If you're unable to even like listen to the stream, because sometimes that happens with me. So the great map of life, huh? Because my kid likes to yank out my headphones. Yellow is current location. Top right is the wind direction. Gotcha, girl. How to not regret things in life, a very important lesson. No, literally everyone. Literally everyone. I think yesterday I jumped into everyone's streams to save my streak. And I kind of was like there, but I was in the other room. Easiest way to not regret things. Well, once one wanted, but to fail is to save. Gotcha, girl. Internet doesn't really have anything to do with it unless you can, if I can run a game or not. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I guess I meant to say like streaming it as well. Okay. I'll stop. I'll start jumping into your streams when I actually can interact and talk, which is very rare. So that's why I feel terrible. So lies on the throne from you. Yeah, streaming is the part I think that my computer just can't handle doing both at the same time. Sorry, I'm trying to lower my seat, but I'm not going to worry about it. To improve one's life, it is wise to watch A and R calmly whenever one comes across a person or an object. By doing so, A and R will pass along wisdom regarding one. Thinking best interact with the person or object. What? Is that like Navi or something? Wait, what? Like, is that like breeding? Targeting? What did it just say to me? Ooh, yeah. I think people like Spider-Man. You know who plays a lot of Spider-Man? your past mod. Ugh. You know, have you seen about Tobey Maguire having a much younger girlfriend? Isn't that weird? Why do they have to ruin stuff? I just said Toby. I know, I like him as a Spider-Man. I think he has the best Spider-Man. Well, you sure about that? Changing perspectives. The young often assume that they can see all that is before them, and sometimes they are missing out on a grander view. By using that stick, one can often find oneself gazing upon sights and discoveries one never expected to see. How young? Like 19? 20? And he has a 19-year-old daughter? It is wise then to press L and take action. I know as a dude, you're probably like, okay, and? One should stop in one's tracks, press L and up. Spicy. Really, Overwatch. It's so interesting to me that these like multiplayer games people want to watch be played. The 19-year-old daughter, yeah, definitely is what makes it kind of weird. A fool and his rubies are soon parted. Do I have a bank or something? Where are you? I don't know what side you're on. Huh, kid? Do you want this game? Yeah. I can't stand you. She says. Anthony Kiedis. Don't bring up Anthony Kiedis. He's been weird too. He literally, I think he wrote in like a documentary or something about the wild things he used to do with like 14-year-olds.
Mom, you didn't do anything.
It broke views records for. Oh, sorry, yeah.
You didn't do anything.
Your mom didn't do anything, really. Okay, girl, I think it's downloading. What the heck is this damn game? Yeah, they do like him when he's miserable and broke for some reason. He's relatable. That's right. They ain't me. I don't even know who this kid is. I'm excited to go see these. I think these are only the new like Marvel movies. Are they still? Does Fox have Spider-Man again? It is commonly known that he who makes poor use of rubies will have a hard life. In order to fully enjoy a long life, it is wise to gather rubies. That's right. But yeah, I haven't been watching any superhero movies since Infinity War. Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. Is he also really? They're all fucking awful. They're all awful. Learn all there is to learn. Yeah, Led Zeppelin. No matter what happens, do not give up. Do not complain. Yeah, I know that's a long time ago. I've kind of watched some of like the Ant-Man movies. I don't know the Venom movies. I can't think of any of the anything else. Some of like the WandaVision. He used to be normal. What? Oh wait, hold on. I wanted to go upstairs actually. My bad. Sorry, Grandma. I know she's been yelling for me all morning. Oh, new episode of The Boys is out today. This is Nat. Is he like straight up on the roof? Free? What does that mean? Oh, it hasn't been bad, and this is the last season. Like, why do they suck? just keep the ball rolling. You know what you're doing. Wait. Oh, here. Roof of my mouth is itchy. He's the younger. I forgot about this guy. God damn it! I shouldn't have came in here. Squink, is that you? If I recall correctly, you were the same age as a legendary hero. When did you get so old? You must build strong muscle from now on. Strong muscles. Yeah, most shows do end bad. Lawson, Sopranos, and The Slowly Fair. I've never made it to the end of either of those shows, but I do know. Shush.
I can find it. Hey.
What game was it anyway, Riley? I know about the end. I know I'm muted. I was yelling at her to get a grip. Like, I love you so much, Riley, but you have to relax. Yeah, I know about the ending of Sopranos. That's pretty good. But yeah, I never got to watch it all the way through. You must build strong muscles from now on. Strong muscles. You have come to the perfect moment. At the perfect moment, I am trying my roll attack. Allow me to teach it for you. Are you ready? Just run as fast as you can, then press A. That's how you perform a rolling attack. If you think you understand, then try to roll into the wall. Go on, young one. Okay. Which wall? I'm gonna make him mad. Her sweet little cries. There we are, Chica. Ooh, what is that? What's that? Oh, you can't see my cursor. Such a racket. Can't you keep quiet? You knocked everything off my shelves, you dratted hooligan. Oh my god, her little cries in the background. My brother upstairs is very high strung. His is the way of knowledge. He locks himself in his room and studies all day. He's quite wise. With that big head of his, he's hardly accommodating. On top of it all, he is very feeble. At times, I'm ashamed to call him my brother. But enough of that, Squink. I sense the natural talent that beats in your veins. But you need more than the talent to make it in the world today. You must be bold. To that end, I shall teach you the art of swordplay. What? What did I mention? Honestly, when I say stuff, it leaves my head immediately, so I don't know. What say you? Do you wish to practice your skills with the sword? Yeah, I don't have a sword. I hate these little tutorial things. Very good. Your first lesson shall be the horizontal slice. Oh, yeah. She's always playing, Spider-Man. Like, always playing. Face me. And press B. Do not fear for my safety. I am ready for you. B? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, or COD, yeah. Wrong. Only press B. Okay, sorry. Good. Keep coming at me until you hear me say very good. Okay. Ooh, I love some of the sound elements that are in this game and that are in Skyward Sword. I can hear it. Ooh, it's so good. I'm sure it's in other Zelda games too. Very good. Next is the vertical slice. Hold L to target me and press B. Keep swinging. Also, he's not saying very good. Very good. Oh, okay. Next is thrust. L target, then up, and then press B. I'm literally only gonna ever hit normally. What do you say? Sorry, I forgot. Sorry. U thrust by L targeting, tilting up, and then pressing at the same damn time. How am I supposed to do that? From? Oh no, I've never heard of that. Is that? Are you sure it's not Canada only? Time so excuse. Yeah, 3 hours ahead. And you're 3 hours behind, and you manage to be here like all the time. So I do. I try to make all of your streams, and even if I do try to lurk at the very least in every single one, you know. And I know that's annoying, but at least it's like I'm here. You know what I mean? Okay, what? Tilting up and pressing? How the hell? Oh, this one. I'm just curious. Keep thrusting. Sorry, I don't remember what button the fucking... Oh, so what I just did. Okay, sorry. Okay, I didn't do it right. A Munchlax? Is that like a Snorlax? But he loves to eat. No, get away. Oh, what? I can't type. This keyboard's too tiny. I have a 75% keyboard and it's stupid in my opinion. There's just, everything's too close together. No. Isn't types Pokey help? Oh, because I spelled it wrong. Watches May when it's at, oh, well then it's because she's gay. She's like, pretty girl, I'm gonna watch that. Because I would do the same stuff. Oh, dude, that's, yeah, then it has to be something that, like, you guys gotta, like, talk about, honestly. Jimbo! Welcome back. How was the wedding? I was watching your stream yesterday, but I didn't say anything, sorry. Well, I did. Yeah, I did. But I didn't have my sound on. Sorry, my eyeball. Okay, I'll... Yes! Finally! I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think that's it. Sorry, excuse me. At a certain point, it's more than that, and it has to be, like... She just doesn't want to be here. Like, that type of thing. It's just, like, truthfully, that's probably what it actually is. I think you guys are just kind of drifting apart, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Z targeting. So at the same time, gotcha, girl. Fuck! No, don't think like that at all. Don't think like that. Maybe, she feels guilty or something, and so... What? See, L targeting, tilting up. This is why I remember doing this tutorial and being like, this is stupid and I'm stuck here forever. How do I get out? Yes, I was stuck here forever. Oh my god. Fucking thank goodness. I don't know what I did, to be honest with you. Good, that's enough. It is as I foresaw. One day you shall become the master of the sword. Yeah, she did. What a bitch. And it's okay. Oh, I honestly, she might not have, but I unfollowed her at the very least. But it is still too soon to give a sword to carry around with you. And like I said, if you're not interacting in someone's streams, don't feel obligated to continue to follow them, right? If you're just like getting their notifications and being like, yeah, oh my god, okay, swipe away. It's okay to unfollow them. Afraid I cannot give you one yet. No, I think she unfollowed me first, and I'm petty, and I'm like, okay, well, fine, bye. If I did give you one, well, a sword, please. But for any reason you feel the need more training, then come see me again. I will after, things happen. Full week with HW. HW, then you're going to Florida for the weekend. Oh, that's exciting. So anyway, money. Nothing in these bad boys? I did. I think I didn't. to protect your honor. Yeah, like honestly, yeah. That's exactly what happened. I'm glad that you guys like playing games together. I don't like it at all. Grandma, finally home. That is sweet. It's what happened, you know? I love this music. Boom, 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 boom. Grandma. Christ. I know. I just find it stressful. I don't know. I know that's so irritating. I'm the same way about just in general. It's just spending time with people. Good time we got once. There she is. She's so cute. I've been waiting for you, Squink. Squink! Try these on. Time flies. I can't believe you're already old enough to wear these clothes. Great. Yo, Jimbo, welcome back. I hope you had a good time with the wedding. No, I did not hear what PlayStation's doing. Hold on. Jeez, you're all moving too fast. Oh, you do. Yeah, you definitely earned a code streak. Oh, so I had to... So we're moving on the 28th of May. So I had to take the 28th and the 29th off. Who knows when we'll get stuff set up. It's technically like a continuation. It's the official split in the timeline. You know? Yeah. So I was gonna have the entire week of June off because that's my first week of June off because that's my birthday. It's June 4th. I'll be 30. But now I took some of those vacation days and I moved them to the 28th and the 29th instead. But I will still have the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th off. My birthday. The check-in every 30 days to keep own games on the PlayStation Network? That's so stupid. I hate capitalism. Did you see what Xbox is doing? They have a lady now who is getting it all, making things better. I read all the stuff that she's been doing. I don't remember any of it, so don't ask me. She's actually making Xbox better. Your 106 streak says so. That's really, really nice of you, Fizzy. Got the heroes' clothes. They look like they might be a little warm for this weather. That's totally fair. I was trying to decide. So all the Dark Souls games, again, are on sale on the PlayStation, but they're also on sale on Steam. And I'm trying to figure out what would be better to buy and actually be able to play. Oh my god, the world we had a lot more wet because of it. Yeah, sorry guys, sorry. Fable is, I think, on sale right now. I could be wrong, on Steam. Don't look so disappointed, dear one. Just try them on. Today's the day to celebrate. It's the day that you become the same age as the young hero spoken in all of the legends. Yeah, definitely. I think we should be buying physical games anyway. I think that would have kept GameStop in business. There's an oh yeah, the Dawn. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, a 6. There. How many games are there for it? I think something Dawn something. You still have they got rid of the GameStop near us. Where we're moving, there will still be a GameStop. So that'll be very exciting. Oh, GTA 6. Well, it should. And then honestly, it probably is gonna have a nice like steel, like a nice one. Yeah. Oh, Ozzy. Oh my god. Anyway, I have something to confess, and I feel so horrifically awful. Yes, enjoy this kitty cat that's alive on the screen. I hit a cat on the way home last night. Oh my god. I feel so awful about it. It was on the backcountry roads. It was on the back. It was a little black kitten. It was a little black kitten. Oh yeah, GTA 6. Yeah, it's gonna make me forget about the cat that I killed last night. I know. I feel so awful. It was just a little kitten. It wasn't like a tiny kitten, but like, you know, at least like 6 months. But we both spotted each other at the same goddamn time. Yes, Jimbo. He's just an oversized rat. Yeah, that's what I'm telling myself. We spotted each other at the exact same time. It was already over on the side of the road, on the other side. And no, I feel fucking awful. Oh my god, the feeling of it, like the hitting something, the feeling of your car hitting something is absolutely awful. It was my first time. Have you taken out a many of them? But we spotted each other at the exact same time, and like I was going 55. Stop targeting, like it's ooh my camera. And we like locked eyes, and then it started to just run across the road right in front of me, like directly in front of me. We met, and my car went boom. I was like, ah, no. But I went back this morning and it wasn't there. So like, Swigalicious is really good. That's my next character's name. Maybe. I feel so awful about it. Oh my god. You had a deer run out and hit your car and skipped off to the side of the road and plopped down. Cat, possum, deer, bear. My fiance was going 80 on the back roads, 80 or 90, and he just obliterated a raccoon or a possum. It got caught underneath like his like the splash guard of his car and like ripped a hole in it. Add me to your list. Come out here, Fizzy. Come out here, you do our wedding for us, and then yeah, I'll give you the old Scouts honor. Keep my honor. Keep your honor. Whatever. Oh my god, a bear though? Yeah, there's so many deer out. Sorry to not be playing the game. There's so many deer out at night that I fear hitting one of them. And now I'm gonna be going on the back roads to go home to our new house. Definitely gonna be needing to be watching out for those. Oh well, good. Lucky for you, the bear was already gone. I fear because it was like a pretty young kitten, so I imagined that it would have been you know, headlight to just, oh my god, disintegrated. Wow. I'm hoping that, you know, it was quick, squashed. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I'm hoping it was just out. But I didn't see anything on the road. Busy. It's not happening, okay? Ha ha ha, but it's not happening. No, I wasn't gone that long. I was out on the roads at like 1 in the morning and then went back out at 8 this morning. Be proud. In the olden days, this was the days before boys were fully considered men. They were taught ways of the sword to prepare them for battles. I know, I'm sorry. I'm just a big liar, you're right. But we do live in such any age. Our ways are coming. Orca is the only island who still knows anything. Orca is the only one on the island who still knows anything about swordplay. Oh, I already talked to him. You're okay with that, Grandma? Hanging on to the family. You know what else about Breath of the Wild that I just don't like? I really like those games. Yeah, I guess. Hey, Craiger, you take care of it then. You gotta go to Canada and it's snowing like all the time. I hate the weapon durability. I think that's so stupid. Hanging on to the family shield. Like even, well, is the Hylian shield durable? Has durability? I don't think so. I think it's unbreakable. But like you get this, ew, what the heck? Again, you can't see my cursor, but what the heck is that monstrosity on here? That devil creature? What is that? Oh, good. Good. Yeah, it's raining for us, but it's kind of chilly. He's basically my neighbor, actually. Shield on the wall is decoration. Does that all make sense to you? Is that a bird in the background that they're taking pictures with? Good? Good, Mac? Everything good on your end? Does all this make sense to you? Oh, okay, fair. What? How is he more your neighbor? I mean, I don't know where he lives, so that's totally fair. Is that nice, Squeak? They suit you perfectly. A perfect fit. Well, tonight I'm gonna invite the whole town over for your birthday. So, better start getting ready. What the heck is a Porygon? Again, what are those? I need to buy more. I hate that my sound wasn't off for my starting soon screen because I straight up turned it off before I started stream. And then I went live. I'm in Ohio though. It's a floating programming. Oh, agile. Oh no, sorry, Addie. No, sorry, Yanni. Oh, Poke Shop Ultra Ball 10. Yeah. Oh, so it's a floating programming mistake in the shape of a duck. Imagine Mario and Super Mario 64, but kind of blocked. So it's kind of blocked. Interesting. A Porygon. Google St. John's NL and tell me I'm your neighbor, okay? That's really cool, actually. Also, if anyone could tell me when I'm like kind of yelling. What was it again? See you in 3 days. Is that how long it takes to get there? Oh, what's NL? St. John. Oh, Newfoundland. That's what you said before, is the waters are pretty cold. Hey, bro, it's only $679 to get there for a plane ride. 5 hours away. So you're 3 hours? Okay, totally fair. Cool. It looks so cute. Oh my gosh, I love it there. So a Porygon 2. Oh, it's not that cute, actually. Can you focus, please? It's not that cute. I don't really care for it, honestly. So you guys enjoy that. Oh, really? This looks like Mario to you? This snow season is November to May. Oh, so it's almost over. Yes, but smoothed out. Okay, I see. I mean, it's kind of cute. It really is. Yeah, for me it says 5 hours, and this is a plane ride though, Fizzy. No. I'd have to say no. Ah, so they get more refined as time goes. I see. Cute. All right, well, anyway. Grandma's make your favorite soup tonight. Sorry about all this chatting. Again, this is what the difference is between streaming and just playing a game. Oh, you get who caught him? Probably not me. But I'll have to look. I'll look at all of these. I don't even know. So a Porygon. Earl. Or is it Earl? I didn't get it. Of course I didn't. I didn't think so. Ma'am, I need this. Welcome back, Yanni. Thanks for the tough reminder. So the Porygon, yeah, the Porygon Z. Oh, WB means welcome back. All right, well now what? Talk to him again. My grandma says it's fine. Give me a sword. It deviates just a tiny bit. Oh, you were explaining in ads? Okay, yeah, don't worry. I don't remember what I said. Oh, it's very rounded. Oh, about a day and a half. Oh, that's not bad. Squink, heed my words. Yeah, but I appreciate the tips on what it is. It's okay. It's not my favorite looking Pokemon ever. I'm glad I didn't catch it, I guess. I'm not too sad about it. It's kind of cute. Heed my words. Do not neglect your daily training. Oh, backflips, yes. But remember, do you wish to practice your skills with my sword? Yes. Becca! Becca! Yeah. Oh, who said something about my fit? Was it you? I'm glad that we got that then. A Munchlax, I have to look at it. Horizontal slice. Face me with B. Ba, ba. Very good. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Okay. I wasn't sure. Yes, you can totally say something about my fit. That's totally fine. I thought I said yes. Sorry. Again, I don't know what I'm saying half the time. You ever hear yourself? Next is vertical slice. Target. Keep swinging. Very good, very good. Next is thrust. God damn it. I'm gonna be stuck here forever. Need to unround my shoulders. Okay, I'm just making him mad. What in the Herbert? Okay, I don't know how I did this. At the exact same time. Okay, got it. I don't get the joke, Fizzy. Bomb mask, I'll try. I don't know. I don't have that option yet. Very good. Oh, Herbert. All right, that's enough. Please. But. Oh, it's still too soon for me to give you a sword. Okay. Must come practice more. How many times do I have to practice? Like, actually? So knock stuff off the walls, huh? Part of my daily training. Isn't it actually something here? No. Yes, I want this, right? What is that? I need a boomerang. He's skinny fat. Oh yeah, everyone make sure that you have the Pokeballs, because there's nothing's more embarrassing than actually trying to go for one and you don't have it. Oh, what's that? The Knight's Crest. Does that intrigue you, young one? Still too early to discuss such things with you. If you happen across 10 of those, show them to me. Really? Interesting. I can only speak if you give me 10 of them. Also, you can comment on my fit if you would like to. Is it nice corresponding colors? I'm gonna break everything. Nice. That's really rude, actually. If you say that, Busy. With a little beer belly? Unround the shoulders. Sit back and relax. I have 5 rubies, sir. What will that get me? Is it like giving like notifications? I realized, so I was whining about getting notifications being like, this over however many people are enjoying this person, are watching this person's stream, join the spike. That means that they got like a raid or something like that. That's what I've noticed that happens. Over 600 people are watching their stream. There was probably like maybe like 10 originally there. They probably just got a huge raid. I deal in pretty much everything and anything. Do you have anything you don't need? If you do, show it to me. I almost read show me your drunk. I'll pay top rubies for your drunk. Yeah. That means that they probably got a raid or something like that. Sorry. Or something like that. Huge. It's gonna be huge. See anything you'd like to buy? I only have 5. Oh, I was gonna look actually, but okay. Oh, the beer belly. Rude. Oh, rude. It is true. Totally fair. So, hey. What you looking at my gut for? What you looking at my... I can't say it. You look cute as a bug in that outfit. I suppose I should congratulate you on your birthday, shouldn't I? Congratulate me? Well, to tell you the truth, I congratulate myself too. We just finished building our little hutch and paddock today. Isn't it a delightful addition to this place? I was actually thinking of getting a pet and keeping it here. The boys would... Oh, you mean, But I'll give you a little reward, but we won't tell your grandmother about it. Okay, explain what you guys are saying to each other in code. Alright, here we are. Finally found the purpose. I said purpose, right? Not piss. Here you go. How do you like it? Why did you bring that little piglet all... Why? That's okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I immediately pictured Belly. Did you bring that piglet all the way here just for me? Oh, thank you so much. I've been thinking of getting a pet pig for a while now. The boys will be so happy when they get home. You sweetie. Hold out your hand. Here's your reward. Nice. Imagine if every Zelda game was like Elden Ring or like a Souls game and you lose. If you die, you lose all of your rubies. All right. Here's your reward. I know, I was a little bit nervous. Why do I feel so silly? Won't fool me like that again. Sorry, excuse me. It's Ray. I freaking love Ricky. I don't know. I know it's been over an hour, but... Oh boy, my eyes. Oh my god, oh, okay. There. I feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't know what to do next. I guess I'll just help this kid. An AV cord adapter for you. Wee, yay! So yeah, I'm playing on the Switch. Fuck off. Ricky's so funny. I think Ricky, Julian was like whatever. I wish Bubbles was a good person actually in real life. He wasn't like a creep and like an angry freak. Cause he's very funny. I mean, he's very sweet. Yeah, very funny. No belly work. He loves women and cats, and I hate that he's an awful person actually in real life. Did it, sucker. You impressed? I used to, we used to listen to their podcast that they used to have. I used to fall asleep to it, to be honest with you, but yeah, they used to have a podcast. I hope I'll be able to jump like you someday, Squeak. Keep pushing. Oh, hey, dude, I got that for you. Whoops. It's just water under the fridge. Oh, Kakuna, you guys keep, like, catching this. I don't know what it is, though. So I'm just gonna kind of go for it. Okay, you really like it. That's okay. If you come across wild pigs, you gotta be careful not to scare them. Oh, so what do we want these for again? Oh, a baby Beedrill? That's what that is? Yeah, to plug in the Wii into your TV, I bought mine off from, like, GameStop to say this had, like, extra stuff. Or you could probably go to any, like, game store. Ooh, the wind is going this way. Good ungarbage. Oh, I don't have a sword. Hey, congrats, I'm looking forward to the party tonight. But are you really that old already? Wow, time just fly. Yes, you cut the people drop stuff, huh? Yeah, there's like a necklace in here or something. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't remember much about watching Trailer Park Boys. I don't know, like, I know some, like, Ricky-isms. Like discombobulated, Chili Billy Goat. Oh, is there another one? But I can't quote it like I can South Park. Yeah, I bought my AV cord out from, Can I move this? From GameStop, but you can also buy it from Amazon. Or honestly, maybe even Walmart. Let go. What? Fuck off. No. Why did the camera change like that? Okay, I would like to look around the room. But I got, yeah, my capture card. So I'd like to play these games on, my Wii. Because I want to play, Twilight Princess. You guys are so good at this. You guys are, like, weirdly too good at this. Oh my fucking god. Okay, well, girl, now what? How do I adjust the map? It's your culture, yeah, totally fair. Indianapolis Jones. No entry. Oh, good. Woo! So he's gotta wait till nighttime, or what are we doing here? Wee! Do I gotta go back to my sister? I feel like I probably talked to everyone. Do I need to talk to the grandpa again? Wish there was a quest line. Yeah, I'll save. Randy Leahy Late Night Burger Bash. I feel like I need to get a sword or something. Where the cops try to murder them is a good episode. NASA does. Yes, where'd thy sister go? Hello. Oi, big brother. Did grandma make that outfit for you? Oh, was that what I was supposed to do? Maybe you've heard of them. Sometimes, yeah, when I say R, I imagine saying it like the way that Ricky does. Like, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. He's like, come on, Tranny, that's just the way they are. You look like you'd be way too hot in those clothes. Thanks, sis. I bet it's pretty neat, though. So anyway, Squink. Can you close your eyes and hold out your hand? Just for one day. Wait, what? Happy birthday. Treasured belonging again just for one day. Yay, a telescope. This is your sister's most precious belonging. Treasured dearly. Yeah. Do it now and see what you can see. So, well, do you like it? I'm letting you borrow this special gift just because you're my big brother. It's very close to the, very Irish. What was that place again? Arbroath. Borrow this special gift just because blah blah blah. Why don't you try it out right now? Try to go over the house from here. Okay. Yeah, but I like the addition of the gamepad. I love that. I think that's so much fun. Arbroath. There we go. You guys are very funny. Whoa, ew, yucky. What's that thing? Ew. Oh, are you looking for the red? No, I'm not looking at the red box. It's just a post box. Fuck. Oh, wait, there's a bird here. Oh, Sonic Adventures 2 on Steam. Ooh. That's my mom's maiden name. It's only $5 right now. That's nice. Ah, Squink, the sky. Look up at the sky. Oh, let me zoom out. Fuck, sorry. Oh, yeah, this guy. Sit back. Relax. Jalapeno chips. There we are. We're progressing. Oh, jalapeno. Oh my god. My mom likes to say it like that because it's kind of funny. Jalapeno. Jalapeno. Oh no, it's a child. I love jalapeno chips too. Squink, this is so terrible. That girl fell into the forest. She needs our help. It's too dangerous for you to go in there without something you can use to defend yourself with. Say less. Jump. What? Wait on. That new Leonardo DiCaprio movie? Can that kid not follow me? No, I did not see it. Okay, I might bring back the posture check. Because I keep slouching. Alright, I need a sword. Oh, and I need a shield. I probably should get the shield first, so I can learn some blocking from him. Grandma! Is that Leo saying that, or is that, Ricky saying that? Oh my god. Okay, so more Ricky. What's the matter? What happened? What? I need this. Well, that's a cute, actually, that'd be a cute username. I need this. That doesn't work like that? Oh no, that's Link's fat face in the camera. Your headphones are good speakers. Okay, so I was hoping I could knock that off and get it. Ma'am, I need something. I need to defend myself. I love that this chat is just Rickyisms. Yes, back this way. Help! My 5-year-old just tried to say ASTP or something like that. She said it like that too. What's the matter? You have an urgent look about you. Has something? So he has the same vocabulary as my 5-year-old. Oh Jesus. I'm gonna stop looking at the chat. Sorry if you have anything to actually say. Have you come for any serious instruction? Yes. I feel like that should keep going. That's a good beat right there. Oh, date. Very good. Your first lesson shall be the horizontal slice. Face me and press B. Do not fear for my safety. I am ready for you. Wait, hold on. Sorry. I almost slashed. Very good. Ba, 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 ba. Another thing, too, about the HD remake on the Wii is that I think it adds some good stuff, right? But I think one of the things is it makes like the water travel a little bit faster. So we'll have time for Rickyisms then, okay? Not now, we're done. Friends with Benedicts, that's pretty good. What, stop quoting Ricky? Oh, there you go. Stop making Rickyisms, yeah. Spin attack. Hold briefly. Or rotate. There you are, bitch. Very good. More. Keep it up. You keep getting closer to me, you silly goose. Next is harder. Parry attack. L target when you see, until you see A. Then press A. No, I can remember any of this. Oh, got him. Ow, damn. Ricky, I want, does he ever say if he makes those up like on the spot? Or he sits at home, I mean, yeah, like writing them out. Oh, sorry, I forgot. God, I'm so annoying. Very good. Jump attack. Come at me once more. That was a fine display. And yet I sense a certain anxiousness in that sword you hold. An eagerness that goes far well beyond the mere desire to be wielded in the hands of safety. I do not know what has happened, but I have faith in you. Somehow I doubt you will misuse that sword. You may have it, Squink. I gave it to you freely. Take that blade with you. You accepted the hero sword. Wield it with B. Use it wisely. You don't want to let that kind of old man who has trusted you let him down. Since the olden days, this sword has been used to fend off evil. Not reading. Its blade is infused with the desire to become strong and righteous. Be strong, Squink. Yeah. Alright, now I am ready to go. Wow. Yes. What was the parrying thing again? Because that was really helpful in Skyward Sword, actually, when I finally learned how to do it. At the very end of the game. Squink is hilarious, thank you. I didn't come up with it myself, someone else did. What's wrong? We don't talk about that, okay? We don't talk about that. I was just being funny. It was funny. A sound could only mean trouble. You know what I do? If trouble came that way, I'd throw rocks to fight it off. Stand in front of a rock. Okay, you actually okay. It was funny. Sorry, damn. Do you think she can wait? I want to look around at some stuff. Grandma, I feel like I should have a shield, but I might get that when I'm like leaving the island, actually. Toot toot. How about these coconut trees? No coconuts. Oh my god, we're at 69 rubies. Shield is for the week and I don't use it anyway. But I'm sure there's something good under here. Oh my god, ew. Throw that at him. Why is he running after me? Exactly. Onward. Oh, hey, I can help you out actually now. Ew. A bramblin. Oh, sorry. Did I get you a little bit? So far not seeing anything in here. It sucks? What is it? Is it cute? You gotta ask the important questions. Give me the important information. I think I might. Yeah, I feel like I might have one already. It keeps growing back. Hello. Did you hear that? Okay. Okay, we're gonna be impressed. I check too? I don't remember. What is it? Oh, that fine sword you have there, buddy. Just look at that thing. Yeah, you'd be doing me a big favor if you cut this here grass for me. I thought I did already, but okay. Alright, you're welcome. I guess I'll do it again later. Ooh, yeah, yes, no. Hey, I was just about to say that as well. When you said loose tea, I was like, it's better for you anyway. You know, we got enough microplastics in us already. But yeah, loose tea is a very, very good thing for you. Especially, yeah, you don't want to be burning, you know, boiling hot plastic and then ingesting it. I think not. Yeah, definitely go for it. I was thinking to do the same thing. Oh boy. Lord have mercy. Is that what you said? They probably are fabricy, but I think probably the like save material. You know what I mean? They are. You don't consume tea. You should. It's very good for you. Hot leaf water. It's really good for you. Oh, do we have 2 ways to go? Can I go higher? Oh, I can. I know. I love having some tea. But yeah, the tea bags that they use. Also, for the most part, I don't think a lot of tea is actually tea. It probably is. But maybe it's because I'm getting a bunch of herbal tea. Sorry, herbal tea. I'm just gonna stop talking about tea because I'm not probably that knowledgeable on it. Mushy. Oh, yes, a mushroom tea. Yeah, they do have that. They have mushroom coffee. Oh my god, that's such a good sound. Why would I ever want to go up here? You know? I've never tried it. Is it good? Does it taste any different? Okay, big hop, big hop, big hop. Oh. Well, anyway, you missed a little girl dangling from a tree. OBS just disconnected for some reason. I don't know why I decided to do that. You don't taste it at all, the coffee cup. Is it? Yum. Hopefully you can see me now. Oh my gosh, that's so silly. I do that. OBS, get it together. Get it together, girl. Okay, welcome back, Krager. Why did it disconnect like that? I guess I'll send the error log. Yeah, if there's any other specs that people need to know about my computer, because I don't know. When people ask, I'm like, well, this is the GPU and this is the CPU. I don't know what else you want. That would be, like, helpful in knowing how to maybe, like, help me figure out what's wrong with all my stuff. So, yeah, I don't really know. Because I put it in my, description, like, my bio. For, like, my PC specs and everything, and all the stuff that I use. Like, headphones, and keyboard, and monitors. It ain't got no gas in it, okay? Oh, it's just Spectre. Oh, okay. Good. I know, dude, so am I. I need to eat something. I'm starting to get a little bit mean here. Yeah, I know. It's been really well today. I'm gonna try. I don't know. This is great. So I'm not gonna mess with anything. I know, but I should make one of those. If I eat, I want to make a taco. Oh god, our first bokoblin of the day. You ever see what the moblins? Yeah, I know. I said that I need to do a posture thing because I need to fix this. I like this little art. And a hydrate, yeah. He has no idea that I'm here. Oh, he knows I'm here. And I can't fight for shit, guy. Oh, that music was good though. That kind of reminded me of not Skyward Sword. Reminded me of Twilight Princess. I know. I think that's very sweet. It's just sometimes I'm not in the mood for it. Okay. Again, like I said before, this is for the ladies out there. You understand me? I was literally on my period, and I was like not in the mood to be told like what to do. So I got rid of the hydration redeem and the posture check. I was bitchy, dude. And guess what? I'm about to be on my period again. So you know what? I'm not adding it back right now. I would start like I would just like end stream. Yeah, sorry. That's good. That's a good starting point. Yeah. We need water here. No beers. Yeah. See, you understand. We need a crack a cold one redeem. Not right now at 11 a.m. But I can't tell if this is reminding me about Okami, or if I'm just thinking about this game. There's something like very similar to this. Squiggy eat. Good call. It's just one beer. Again, I'm You know, I like having a beer. I think stream at night. It kind of helps like relax a tiny bit. I don't drink much because I am 100 pounds, and so therefore it just makes me feel very sick very quickly. Is his liver okay? Yeah, I just put my hair up. I feel like I don't know. Sorry, legendary ancient fairy fountain. Oh, okay, so never mind. Uh-oh. Interesting how there's no delay. Well, there's a delay. Yeah, I don't want a fatty liver. He has a fatty liver. Oh, I don't want that either. Probably have that. Also, whoever met the great fairy who lived here has been blessed with good fortune. Oops, I wasn't done. Oh, I guess I was done. Alright, up we go. I don't think I ever met a great fairy in this game. Aw, ew, he says. Ew. Oh, can't I hide in this? But if the difference in consumption rate... Whoa. Yeah, Bert, I don't know how to say his name. He's got quite the belly. Finish him! I am truly just hopping around. Oh, right. Phew. Oh, see, this is the kid, by the way. You missed this. He has a new show, too. And a movie? I just know him from stand-up comedy, right? Yout! Oh god, I like tried to fix my back and I like spasmed. What's with the get up? Well, whatever. So where am I? Oh, that's right. Giant bird came in the machine story. Oh yeah, my mom had an operation on her eyes today because if anyone remembers Easter weekend, she had a hemorrhage in her eyeball. So they went in with a laser and zapped. And she says she doesn't need a ride home, but I'm like, okay, are you sure? I know, it's not cray. Miss Tetra! Tetra? Like the Triforce? Yeah, she says she's fine to drive home. The doctor said she's okay. I was like, do you want me to come get you? Do you want me to take you? And she's like, no, I should be okay. Like, okay. Well, thank goodness, Tetra. Is that what the joke is here? Hero guesser. Hi. I've played a little bit of this game before, and I've never really finished it. Obviously. I made it to the first temple. I've done a lot of stuff, little side quests out there, but I made it to the first temple, and that's about as far as I made it. When I saw you get dropped off this summon, I knew for sure you'd summit. Which one? Which character? So the bird dropped me off at the top of the mountain. Well, isn't that nice of it? Well, don't just stand there. Let's go. Time to repay our debt to the bird and fool. Oh my god, do you love this game? Are these your... Oh my god, these are your emotes! I love that. That's so cute. That's adorable. But miss, what about this boy? What about him? Don't worry about him. Come on. Named her Miko? Maybe if you play again, if you were saving your VODs busy, I could actually go back and look at the character. I'm so glad that you love this game. It's so much fun. Why? Yeah, I would. To save my stream. Yeah, I would. Uh-oh. I like that he went. No, wrong blonde girl. It's your first Zelda game too, and you played it a lot. Ooh, that's so exciting. Yeah, that sounds good. No, it takes like 5 or 10 minutes actually. Stupid kid, get a hold of yourself. She's gone. There's nothing you can do. I'm trying to think what my first Zelda game was. I watched my cousin play Ocarina. But I didn't play it myself for like a very, very long time. That's great. No, that's perfect. Any tips you have, that's great. I'm just gonna Google stuff. Oh, you have the option to save them, but it doesn't? I wonder why then. That's rude. So, you want what? You want to come with us on our ship? You understand what you're asking? We're pirates, you know? Pirates, the terror of the seas. I think the first actual game... Yeah, that's great, thanks. The first actual Zelda game I think I actually played was, Oh! Was that loud? Okay, I turned it down. What the heck? What was that? Ooh, a Caterpie! Guys, do we already have that? I feel like maybe. Anyway, yes, thank you. Welcome to the Thank you to the buggy. Welcome to the buggy for... No, why don't I have a great ball? Okay, so I need to buy more great balls. That's good to know. Great ball 20. Yeah, that's what I need to do. Anyway, thank you for the follow there, Anonymous. I know who you are, but you don't have to... So you don't have to say hi if you don't want to. Now I just gotta catch it. I will catch it, don't worry. I might already have one, but I don't know. Pokey Shop. Great ball 20, Jesus. Alright, I mean, successful. What do we do? What do we gotta get out of bringing some helpless kid along with us? I'll tell you what we get. A headache. A repeat ball. Is that real? I know you must feel with your sister. I mean, kidnapped and all. You know what's funny, Jimbo, is you adding in the boost command. I think that's so funny. No way. What the heck is a repeat ball? That's not real. What is it? That doesn't really have anything to do with us now, does it? And how do you figure that? I deleted your messages. I didn't want it to delete your message. How long is 600 seconds? Krager's timed out for 600 seconds. Enjoy that. Oh, whoops. 10 minutes. Sorry. Sorry, Krager. How do I untime you out? Yes! Yeah, when you were playing Stardew, I wasn't necessarily on mute. Okay, thanks. Sorry, dude. I was being petty. I'm sorry about that. No, I didn't see any of the messages. I can see you now. What's up? How you feeling? Oh, what? You're the absolute worst? Yeah. What do you mean I didn't get it? Like, that's so stupid to me. I tried too. I know. Well, it automatically did it. 600. I was thinking maybe like a minute, 5 minutes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There, just who are you? That makes sense though. 60 seconds times 10. Or whatever. I'm not a bully. I just have to remind y'all what's up every once in a while. Where do you get off button in and out of someone's conversation like that? Please, all I meant to say is that if you're a big bad pirate, if you hadn't come to this quiet little island, that poor little girl wouldn't have been snatched away by that bird. I am petty, like Tom Petty. Just what do you mean by that? Just be quiet for a moment and I'll tell you. Gaslight. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. What, you don't want me to be like Tom Petty? I don't know. Is there something wrong with him? Now, as much work as my work entails delivering letters, I spend most of my time traveling amongst the many different islands. As a result, I hear many things. Tom Petty, more like Fetty Head. Fenty Head. Oh, well, a bird. Haven't you heard word that young girls have been getting kidnapped lately from regions of all the great seas? That's really, really weird. Oh, he's dead. Oh. Okay, I hope I'm not like that either. Well, we've heard it or not, that seems to be the case. Young girls with long ears like yours have been getting kidnapped, never to be seen again. Unless my eyes fail me, that young girl who was just kidnapped off this island has long ears, does she not? Much like you do, Miss Fearsome Pirate. Kale! Hi, Kale. Thanks for stopping by. Are they talking about, like, elf ears? My point is that bird mistook that poor girl for you. That's what I was saying. I was like, wrong blonde girl, no. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was young Squink here who saved you from the monsters in the forest. Yeah, that's a bit racist. That's a bit weird. Of we got to cancel this bird. What was that? You missed. What did I miss you say? No. What did you ask? I can't scroll up for some reason. Okay, there we go. Yeah, what did you say? What? Wait, hold on. How much do they cost? What, the kid? Free if you're on mute. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah. No, you weren't on mute. You're on my other monitor. What are we saying? Oh, while I'm at it, might as well tell you that bird that kidnapped both of you and Squink's sister has made a foul nest north of the heights of the Forsaken Fort. Okay, well, you didn't say anything about that, kid. Oh, you were playing music? That's very nice. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, what would you like to eat? Mac and cheese? Oh, whatever you think I'm talking about. Okay, good, because I don't remember what I was talking about, so. We do not have crab rangoons. Mac and cheese.
What else do we have on the top?
Your mom. I don't know. I'll have to go. Oh, would you like, oh, you played my favorite song too? Yeah, I had you on my second monitor, and my fiance was sitting in the back, so yeah, I didn't have the sound on. How about the Forsaken Forest? Isn't that the place where, French toast? Sorry, it's nothing personal. So what are you gonna do? Under the circumstances, I don't think it would be unreasonable for you to help Squeak a little bit, no, would it? I don't need you to tell me that. Girl just like me, don't tell me nothing. I have nothing but evil rumors about this Forsaken Fortress. You can't possibly mean to go there with nothing but that cheap little sword. That's not brave, it's stupid. That's kind of up to you, bud. You know, oh, a shield, yeah. Girl, I'll tell you what. Come back with something like that, we'll show you the way to our ship. One more thing, once we leave, you won't be coming back here for a while. Better go say goodbye to your family. I don't want getting all weepy-eyed and homesick on me. Okay, she's mean. So, do you want me to talk to everyone again? Oh my god, the children running at me. They pay you to kill a hiker. Squeak, your sister Errol, she's... Did you answer me? Do you want French toast? Riley? Riley? What do you want French toast? Don't tell me. You're gonna board that ship and try to save her, aren't you?
French toast.
Okay, French toast is easy. Are you going somewhere?
No.
No? Not cut up, or she's off with the head. Got it. I don't know if I need to talk to everyone. Yeah, he's gonna need some money. Hello, I'm back. Sorry, I'm trying to talk to you. Oh, I don't? Okay. What say you? No. Sorry. I just need to go get my shield. Fire! time for Fire's daily affirmation. You are kind, you are smart, you are important, you are phenomenal, you are super and iconic, actually. Period, sister. Fire was last streaming Dead by Daylight. Does not sound like so much fun. Oh, yeah, come to him. That's very nice. She does answer with she's just a sassy little rude kid. Okay, sorry. You're right. Grandma! We're back. Tell Grandma what's troubling you. Ooh, be right back. Oh my god. You're still waking up. That's totally fair. Well, good morning. Alright, here we go. That's all that's left, okay? There's only those 2 pieces. Also, sorry to not do any of this on, like, the ad, but I'm afraid to open up dropping frames. Okay, we're going back into the yellow. Anyway, I'm afraid to open up anything. So I want to open up my stream manager, and like run an ad manually, but I'm afraid. I'm already having trouble. Ow. Thanks, nice cheer. Thank you so much. What? People slip and fall into angry waters below. Oh, yeah. I bet. Orca food. Sorry. Can I run the ad? Could I have done that? My bad. I didn't think I could. Oh, maybe. Sorry, yeah, sorry about that. I was gonna read it on the ad, but I didn't. Mod view? I don't think I have that. Oh, you mean like actually like the browser? Officially gone at least 5 minutes, I think, for it to do that. Yo, Jimbo! Oh. Oh, you're making a sandwich? What kind of sandwich? Can you hear me? Is there an ad playing? Or is it lying to me? Yeah, it sounds delicious. Love me a good Sammy. Also, so I made myself some tea. Oh, a chicken salad. That's fancy. And I brought ice cream. Okay, you can hear me good. I also just made sure I'm not muted as well. Alright, what is that? Squink, please tell Grandma what's troubling you. I fucking love mayo. Don't even talk to me about it. The heck is a rock? Rock rough? Is it ugly? Sorry, it's very cold. Alright, now is an ad running. Oh my gosh, I actually tried the cream carbonara bulldog. I can tell by your lack of Is it adorable? Ad time, let's go. Fire, I don't know if you can hear me right now. Yeah, we are also getting a bunch of rain where we are now. And I want to like go snuggle up and like take a nap. So maybe we'll travel with them. I don't remember what is in between the fortress and this. Oh, good. Okay. But yeah, stay safe, Fire. Stay safe. Is he still playing outside the goals? No. What's the matter? Can you not hear me, lady? Oh, thank you. You have 19, sorry. Grandma? What's that second emoji? It's an eyeball. What's happening? I love the idea of thunderstorms, like severe thunderstorms. I love the idea of it. I like a nice heavy rain, you know, the sky is dark. Take a good nap, man. Squink. Were you looking for this? Oh my god. No, wait, hold on. When I hear the tornado siren, but I'm missing my kitty and caffeine water. Is this what you're looking for? You're gonna try to save her, weren't you? What the fuck is that on there? That crest? Not the crest, but that devil on there. Take it with you. Got the legendary shield. Said to use it himself. Yeah, that I was gonna say, oh, no. But yeah, you're good. Good. Guess it's true. Earl has really been kidnapped. Tornadoes do really love sucking people into them, and houses, and flipping cars. Arrow has really been kidnapped, hasn't she? What kind of monster would take such a sweet young child? Sure, Krager. Granny's number, would you like her? Wait, what? Hold on, what? Oh, a siren? No, I've never experienced a tornado, and I'd rather never ever. But there's really always a very good chance that we could, because we live in like Tornado Valley now, unfortunately. All right, white screen. Okay, Yeah, that's terrifying. Do you have anything useful to say to me, ma'am? Comrade! Connie, what were you... Dang it, you don't have a shout out yet? Damn it. Anyway, you were last playing... I stopped in your stream. I don't remember what game you were playing, though. Still Zelda. You don't even have snow, really. Also, Comrade, also plays, does a one-hit Wind Waker run. You're welcome. Sorry to not stay long because I immediately started my stream and then I need to have my stream up on my phone to, you know, monitor all the problems that I'm going to be having. Good morning. Welcome to the Island Postal Service. What do you have for delivery? Nothing. Alright, well, I'm back. Hold on. Anyone? No one special to talk to? Hey, what is good? Oh, that's a decrepit old shield. Are you going for splinters and cry? Are you gonna get splinters and cry? Yeah. Last played Sonic Unleashed. Oh, wait, what? That's what you were playing? Yeah. If you're ready, let's go. Are you ready? Yes. That's the thing too, is I have 2 monitors, but like I can't have too much up on it or else I feel like things are gonna go wrong. Oh, you weren't playing that? Okay, I wasn't sure. Oh, here we go, girl. So yeah, I tried to just have it up on my phone instead. Woo, bye! Good luck, Squeak! Good luck finding Earl. Take care of yourself. I know, they're so good. Grandma. Oh wait, damn, I didn't go up there. Oh, interesting. So you were last playing Sonic. How cool. How much longer is this gonna have to go on, do you think? Do you have an estimate? Wait, fire! Are you sure you shouldn't just quit right now? Seriously, think about it. I can tell you're just gonna get more sentimental from here on out. Interesting. Still time, you know. Are you sure we shouldn't turn back around and take you back to your island? Yes, yes. I know, she sucks. Also, okay, is it her name Tetra because of the Triforce? I know, I can't type either, dude, you're fine. Oh my god. When Link and one of those Gorilla chicks have a spare second together. I know, you still spelled it wrong, bro. Oh. You're right. Well, technically there's 4 triangles. I need... Hi. Squeak. Listen, kid, you can't just stand around on deck. You'll get in everyone's way. I told Nico to look for you, so report to the decks below and ask him. A tetrahedron from Futurama. Not you again, sorry. It's not you. This big burly man. Okay, my bad, everyone. I thought Quattro was 4. My bad. We're a square. Turn the ship full on the thermometer. We're heading for the northern seas. Listen, shrimp. You're creeping me out standing like that, so quit it, yeah? Get out of my way. Way out of my way. Go down below and find Nico. How about you? Are you also a douche? I'm just a child. Nico didn't make it out half bad. Trace. New swabby and all. New swabbies here don't get stuck doing the hardest work. We always do. It's a raw deal, but hey. I'll tell you, it sure sounds like Nico is happy to finally be on the bottom rung on the pirate's ladder. You bet he is. So that's a kid, ain't it? I know, he's so cute! Can I use amiibos in this game? I packed them all up, but I'd get them out just to try. Alright, like no one wants to talk to me? Like no one? Girl? No one knows who that is, Krager. Oh. Only losers know who that is, Krager. You, get out of my way, will you? Climb down. Okay, so literally. Wow. Sorry, only, is it a football player or something? Soccer. Stop right there. This is Miss Tetra's cabin. Most of us real pirates aren't even allowed in here. There's no way we're letting an outsider in. Don't even think about it. Oh, that's who that is? Says speak your truth. Oh. You mean, from 4? That guy? I know who that is. My bad. I didn't know the dude's last name. We're not friends like that, really. Did she turn on the light? Sorry. I didn't mean losers. I meant, people who just play video games all the time. Look, it's a kid, isn't it? Oh, he's like bunny teeth. Well, now ahoy here, Squabby. Thank you. I got stuck, damn it, it's gone now. Yeah, I also got stuck in that game, but it was at the very beginning when you take the girl on that date. I got stuck. Got stuck on the helicopter in the very last mission, though. Aw. Yeah, I couldn't drive well. Promise, I feel like we made it to the pier. At the very beginning of the game, I think you go on a date with a girl and you... maybe... Nico, now, I promise I'll go easy on you. Do as I say. Yeah. You gotta go? Alright, bye. Bye, Mac. I don't know much about her. Don't spoil anything. I don't know anything. Bye, macaroni with the chicken strips. Sorry, I take a while. Irish broad, is she? I don't know. I don't remember. Everyone read this yourself, okay? I'm gonna eat. It is a very interesting combo. Stoner AF. Your character is beautiful, Fizzy. She's so gorgeous. You make such good characters. When I play Boulder Skate again, I definitely need your, I am missing the Mountain Dew. Dang it. That sounds delicious, actually. I don't drink pop very much, but it sounds good. Thanks, kid. Alright, walk up to it. Okay. So we gotta climb it a tiny bit, is what he's trying to tell us. The troll's hole. Alright, my turn. Now check it out. After that platform raised up from the floor, you gotta jump on all of them. Yeah, yeah. Midwestern, yep. The pop. Would you have said soda? You little weirdo. I was able to jump to this first one myself, but that next one is too far, right? I think the character, I don't know. I think they're all so beautiful. Every single character you do, like, regardless of, like, they're just so pretty. Gotta do this. Michigan. Michigan, and you say soda? That is weird. Yeah, I'm Ohio, and I say, pop. If you jump right on the rope, you can grab onto it and use this to blah to swing. Get close enough to the next one, and you let go. So, do you think you could do it? You can swing from platform to platform, try to get to that interesting room over there. And it's timed, isn't it? Promise those Swabby, it'll only stay raised for a little while, so you don't get there. Oh! Oh my god. I have not been saving. I forgot that it doesn't actually save. Yeah. Really, saying Coca-Cola, get yourself a cola. Hero guesser, geo guesser, yeah, same thing. Tink, a tink. I have not been saving this entire time. Isn't that so silly? The Luna Sorceress outfit. I didn't get a chance to look at the outfit. Guitar Hero. Oh, cute. You supposed to screenshot from the song in game and people would guess. That's very cool. Mine's Squiggy Bug. It'll probably take you at least 1 year before you're really good enough to make it here. 1 year, rough year, tough year, full of bumps and bruises. Okay. Of course, if you manage to do it faster, I'll reward you. Say less. So this is already raised. Is it not? This is very, very nice to remember. Because I can do this now. If I'm unhappy with anything, I'm going back in time. Yeah, they're down now. That's what I thought. Sorry, running into the wall. Okay. But yeah, since I'm playing on the Switch. Christ, I knew it. Yeah, hey. What are you doing? You have to jump and make it over here. I'm trying to remember, Nyx was very, very pretty too. Again, all of your characters are so pretty. When you're hanging on the rope, you can, what the fuck? Not tell me that for. That's so silly of him. Gatekeeping. Girl lighting? Gas pop. Girly pop. Okay, anyway. So I have to do that every single time. Reset it. Oh, Barbara! Face forward, please. Oh, who caught that dog thing? What the heck? Where am I supposed to go? Okay, it resets the timer. Okay, I see. Oh, that makes sense. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, wait, there's no platform that I'm thinking of. So that way they stay up longer. Okay, gotcha. Oh, where do I go now? I see. Okay, so I don't need to go to that one directly in front of me like I think I do. Probably want to go... Oh, Jesus Christ, what the hell? What the heck? Why is it, like, reversed? Ew! It's reversed. I'm not turning at all. I want to be turning. Oh, an eggplant emoji? That's pretty good. I don't like that the camera controls are like that. How do I fix it? Okay, perfect. It has to be like this. So don't worry. Wait, it's backwards though. So yeah, I can't change it. Fucking hell. Excuse my language. I feel like I'm sitting here by myself, sorry. We're just gonna go for it. The blonde? Did you make Bazel blonde? The heck? Okay, well I got the idea. I'll just let it reset naturally. I'm feeling good about this one. Ooh. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not gonna resort back to quick saving. Oh my Christ. Oh! Oh, it paused for a second? Oh. That's alright, I was gonna end stream soon anyway, so don't worry about it. Quite a big pause, too. I hold R. Okay, I think it said stop up there, but I wasn't sure what that meant. Anyway, I have to be up at 7:30 maybe tomorrow. How dare me? What did I say? Did I say something? I don't know. Oh, fucking God. Hello? Oh, cussing? Is that what it was? Sorry. Oh, ending stream soon? Sorry. I gotta do it sometimes. How do I start swinging again? Not that I'm not having a good time or anything. I just want to take a nap. It's so nice and, like, rainy outside. Fuck! I would love to. I would love to do that. But eventually my computer doesn't like it. So, if we're talking about getting me a new computer eventually. Because this one's absolutely stupid. Like, I have such a good computer. I don't understand what's wrong with it. Right? Is it a good computer? I don't know. Okay. Alright. Tempted to save. I should have saved. You are definitely helping. I blame Spectrum too. I don't know what the problem is, dude. I will. My ice cream is melting. Oh, she said. The fuck are you looking at, Link? I can't remember what he said about turning and looking. Ah, the sounds of the save slates. Oh, it's so nice. Very nostalgic of playing Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. You turn while holding it. Okay, well, thank you for telling me. It did. Sorry. I don't know. Felt like I blew into the mic and I blew into Fizzy's ear. You guys shouldn't be here. It's Fizzy a nice time. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, what the? Oh, hell yeah. Look at that, kid. Oh! Gay. Are you impressed? Yeah, girl. That was so easy. What, the ones that I added myself? You did it already? Yeah, it was easy. First try. I'm very proud of you as my underling. Pro gamer. Technically, it was my first try. We go off to the save. Wonder if it's okay to give it to him. I don't see why not. Doubt I'll get busted. Treasure in that chest over there? Hurry and take it before someone else comes. Ooh, it does. You're right. You're right. I know. I know. I thought the same thing. Don't worry, I'm already thinking of it. Yeah, we got the spoils bag. You can keep items in here. Loaded 8 types of items. Press this. Interesting. To use the contents? We've reached the Forsaken Fortress! Hurry! Get up here! Ooh, sass. Alright, well, anyway. Let me get out there. Fuck the door. Okay, now I can do this perfectly. I will be back tomorrow to play more. We will do the Forsaken Fortress. I don't know what's after that. The getting to the next little island. Where's the There's supposed to be a picture of him cranking in it. Yeah, there's supposed to be a picture. We're here. Hey, Squeak, here I am. Yeah, catch you later, Krager. Thanks for being here. You should try this game yourself. It's fun. Oh, wait, up here? No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll totally check out the hair and the outfit before I sleep.
Hey, let's go. Protect my balls. So let's fighting. Let's fighting love. Let's fighting love.
What were you doing with Nico? Don't tell me we were playing some stupid game. You guys told me to go talk to him. Yeah, maybe. Some strange rumors about that place. Oh, hey. No good group of pirates we used to compete with. They were just small time. Now the place looks like it's pretty dangerous. Oh, maybe you'll play the game, maybe. I knew it. Look. Over there. By that window. A sand shrew. Aw. What's really annoying is I can't hear it. OBS, like, I think I need to monitor it myself, and I don't know. I mean, I can do it, but I don't know how to do it without it being, like, double audio. Bet you anything that place will be where your sister is locked up. Yeah. Looks like the whole place is under a really tight guard. This won't work. We'll be spotted from anywhere near landing there before even landing there. Well, what do we now? What do we do now? Yeah, Squeaky shimmied right along to it. Don't struggle if you really want to get into a dangerous place like that. It's the only way to do it. Trust me. We pirates do this all the time. Don't worry about it. It's like it'll be a piece of cake. I can't read today, sorry. Is everybody ready? Never your fear, kid. We are pros. We're gonna launch you good. 3, 2, yeah. 1. They did wave to him, you're right. Forsaken Fortress. Oh, yeah. This is fun. This is a fun little area. I know, I love this part too. This is cute. I like this. Again, I'm going to do it tomorrow because I'm going to go take a nap before I go to work. So again, I appreciate everyone being here. Super, super fun. Thanks for hanging out. And hopefully you see, not necessarily kind of my first playthrough. I've done this part before. I've made it to the first big temple, I guess. I don't know. I can't really remember. It's with the water levels. You have to raise the water. You're going in with the boat. I know. Such a late reaction. Sorry about that. Bye. Thanks for hanging out. Should I raid or do you guys want to go home? I mean, go do your thing. Let me see if there's anyone to raid anyway. Bye. Yeah. I just think it's always nice to do that, you know? Where is it? There it is. Oh. Okay, hold on. Here's raid 1. That's for like if you're a sub. So, otherwise you won't be able to use it. Raid 2. Okay, there's that. We're gonna raid someone and I can't. Oh, fuck! Damn it! There's 2 people streaming right now. Okay, I think they're both busy. So 1 for Jimbo and 2 for Addy. 1 for Jimbo, 2 for Addy. Who would you rather raid? I don't want to talk too loud. I don't want them to hear me. It's gonna be a second to answer me. Jimbo, fuck off! Okay, we'll raid Addy. Yes, honey. Do you want a bite of this? It's ice cream. You had your headphones on, Jimbo. I didn't think you were hearing me. Addie's super sweet.
I think like that.
Okay, I'll get you one. Addie is playing Pokemon Fire Green and Fire Red and Leaf Green. So anyway, everyone, thank you for being here. See ya. I'm gonna give it a second to everything to catch up. Bye bye. I don't have a ending screen. So bye bye. Why is it capturing my mic? I literally said don't do that.